What is everybody? With Jay Barker, I'm Mick Gillispie. It's time for the post-game show presented by Westgate Luxury Condominiums. Find out more at westgateal.com. Just a missed field goal from Bryant-Denny Stadium. I guess that's probably the best way to say it today. But so much to talk about tonight. Alabama loses 52-49 to Tennessee, a classic game, one that we'll be talking about for a long time. Call in and get on the conversation. Jay, I feel like every time Tennessee needed something, the officials helped them out with a penalty. I guess Alabama committed 17 penalties today. They didn't even know what down it was. This was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen. Maybe I'm biased because I'm an Alabama guy, but give me a freaking break. I mean, the pass interference that would have ended the game, that's every single jump ball pass that you ever see in college football to me. And then Burton's running down the middle. He's getting pulled. No flag for him. Alabama had to overcome a lot of obstacles in this game. And honestly, with the officiating, the fact that it was 52-49 tells me that this team's pretty good.
Yeah, and Tennessee's pretty good as well. And
yeah.
Josh Heupel had a great game plan. And, I really don't understand defensively why we could not put a safety over the top of a number 11. I mean, times when they weren't even sending anybody down the seams on the backside and had nobody really responsible. Really, the safety should be the one that makes that adjustment. And we got burnt all night by Hyatt. I mean, he actually had, 5 touchdowns on the game receiving for Tennessee and really just a huge playmaker for them. They got those quick, explosive plays. And Alabama answered. I mean, look, and I'll say this now, Bryce didn't throw all week. I mean, his count number was 0 throughout the week in practice. That was his count number, whatever. So for him to come out and play, and I remember talking to somebody on Thursday night, and I said, how – and they said only Bryce could do something like this. He has the mental fortitude. He has the ability to go out there, stay calm, and just do what he's got to do to win the game, and he wants to play. He wants to be out there with his team and be a part of this rivalry. And, just look at his numbers, 35 of 52, the 2 touchdowns, but just the plays he made where a normal quarterback, I mean, I don't care who you are, you're going to get sacked. And he makes plays. He extends plays. Tremendous game for him. And as you look at his rating right there, 153.5, pretty amazing. Completion percentage of 67%. Jahmyr Gibbs, what a day for him, 3 touchdowns, 103 yards on 24 rushes. So my only 2 question marks in this game, really, the refs. And I was getting texts from everybody in the world going, what's going on? Why are we getting these kind of bad calls? And again, there are calls that weren't bad calls. There were mental mistakes where jumping off sides, not lining up, or motions, things that you can't have in these big games like this. There's 3, 4, 5 plays that make the difference in games like this, in rival games, top 5, top 6 games when you're playing against a team like Tennessee. And they're at the last end, and we got the first down, and we're about to try to get to field goal range. I thought we should have ran the football. Run the clock down. Give them no time left on the clock. Get this thing, either it's going to be a field goal or you're going to get a big play down the field, but it looked like they were trying to get in field goal range. So if you're going to do that, then just eat the clock, get in field goal range, take a shot with no seconds left in the clock, or 2 seconds, whatever it is, but try to get it to no seconds, and then you go to overtime, and then you just regroup, and then you got a chance. So thought a couple mistakes, just schematics and as far as play calling at times, but really I thought Bill O'Brien called a great game. I thought he stayed very consistent early on when Alabama got down. I thought that he did not panic at all and try to get the touchdowns back or the points back. Instead, stuck to his offense, and Alabama was able to, 5 unanswered touchdowns there for a while. So pretty amazing, some of the things they did. They just got to clean it up. 17 penalties, you're not going to win games like that. And you just can't have that type of mental breakdowns.
Yeah, look, some of them were penalties, but how about I just don't understand how a guy comes leading in with his head. He hits Bryce Young, helmet to helmet. Oh, that's not targeting. That's not roughing the passer. I don't know. Look, I'm not trying to be a crying Alabama fan, but I'm pretty neutral. And I give Tennessee a lot of credit. It's a good team right there. It's a great team. They do a lot of things well, but this was not called both ways to me. I'm sitting here watching this going, every time Tennessee needed a play, the officials threw the flag. It just felt rigged to me. And I don't know if it was or not, but it just felt that way. The end of the game, how many times do you see a jump ball, 2 guys jump for it, and it gets tipped in the air and intercepted? But, of course, Tennessee needed it. Boom, flag goes up. They get the ball back, and it sets them up to tie the game. That's just, I guess that's the way it is, but we've seen this all year long. There's been like 2 holding penalties against Alabama's teams, the teams that Alabama's played. You're telling me that only 2 teams have held Alabama all year? And tonight it's like 18 to 5 or something? I mean, I don't know.
There were a lot of holds on Will Anderson tonight. And
but where were those flags at?
They weren't called.
But the other one, like the guy comes in and he hits Bryce Young with his helmet. They even look at it and they can't figure it out. These guys didn't even know what down it was.
Yeah, that one angle looked like he was leaning with his shoulder. I mean, it's still anywhere up in that head area is supposed to be at least. I mean, I thought at least it was roughing the passer if it wasn't targeting. I mean, at least because he had about a step and a half after Bryce had released the ball. He is at that time, not able to protect himself. And that's normally where they make that call. I think if that's on the other side of his hand, then I think he probably gets the call. Bryce coming back from a shoulder injury. Again, I just so impressed with how tough he played. Some guys really stepped up tonight in certain plays. We had receivers dropping the ball over the middle. We had, some more drops.
Too many
here
drops,
and there.
Man.
Too many drops. And
too many.
But some of those guys are getting better. We've talked about throughout this summer and into the fall. Really thought that Isaiah Bond would come on, and he came on a little bit tonight. And I really think he's that kind of deep threat, that guy that can be explosive for Alabama. But tough loss. Look, I know 52-49, and it ends the 15-year streak, which is tough to do in itself. This was not
cigars tonight, Jay.
No cigars. Oh my gosh.
15 years straight since 2006, and that's the way it goes down. Oh,
yeah,
man,
it's not fun, and these games are not fun. I mean, at least they fought back the way that they did. And look, he had a shot there at the end, make the field goal. And, normally he's made those field goals this year. He's been in that exact same spot pretty much every time he's missed it and has not been able to get that corrected. So hopefully he will. Here's the good news. Alabama played a top 6 team. It'll probably be a top 5 or top 4 team coming out in the polls this week. Alabama probably will not drop too far down. I think they may be at 5 or 6, somewhere in there. I don't think they'll go much further than that. I wouldn't think, the way that they played Tennessee being the number 6 team in the country. And again, it doesn't hurt them in the West. They can still win the West, still get back to the championship game. Then it's going to be Georgia or a rematch with Tennessee. So it's still a chance to get back in the Final Four, as we've seen before, with the way the playoffs are now. So everything is not lost, but just disappointing to lose to Tennessee anytime. We haven't felt that in 15 years or 16 years.
Look, and you're right. I mean, I'm not even looking long term. I mean, they better take care of Mississippi State next week, or the Egg Bowl.
They're a good football team too. Yeah.
Right, the Egg Bowl is going to determine the West. I guess I'm just sitting here shaking my head, and I'm saying, you know what? I mean, the drop passes, some of the penalties, but some of the other penalties were just, come on, give me a break. And then the other thing is, you're right. I mean, you got to defend better than that. I mean, there was no pass rush in this game for Alabama. I mean, Tennessee was in Bryce Young's face all night long. Where was the cheetah package? Where was the pressure?
They couldn't get on the field.
Hit him. They did not even hit him tonight.
They couldn't get that. He was so protected. Unless when he was moving up in the pocket, that was the only time they ever had a chance to he made a lot of plays on the run as well, Mick, that really put Alabama in tough spots and really got positive yards on first, second down. I thought their offensive coordinator did a good job too of running the ball there late in the game, and he was kind of eating some clock, and they were gaining yards, getting some first downs, getting in position. Again, there's a lot to be positive about, but there's a lot that they can correct. The biggest thing that they can correct is the penalties. 17 penalties. Again, you're not going to have a great chance of winning games by having that many penalties, that many penalty yards, and not playing clean football like that. And again, that goes down to your composure. It goes down to discipline. And look, some of those, and I'll give you probably 3, 4, maybe 5 of those are questionable. I agree as far as the referees and and it really more both ways of saying, look, if you're going to call it on one side, you got to call it on the other as well. But look, here, I hate giving excuses. I hate ever blaming the refs. That's just who I am. Got to give Tennessee credit, Heupel credit. Hendon Hooker, a great game for him. 5 touchdowns, 20 of 30, 385 yards, and a 70% completion percentage. His numbers will continue, or his stock will begin to continue to rise as far as the Heisman and all the other awards and stuff. He's had a terrific year, so give him credit. Where credit's due, because they came out with a great game plan. They weren't able to get Cheetah on the field, that package, because they were so hurry up. They tried it one time and pretty much got caught by it. And I think from then on they realized they were going to have to kind of wait their moments out. They just didn't give them that chance. They went fast pace, kept same personnel in, and got to the line of scrimmage, and Alabama had to adapt as quickly as they possibly could. So, but I watched. I was rewinding on it because we can rewind now and everything. Going back during timeouts, looking at certain plays, especially Will Anderson, wondering why is he not getting it. They did a good job of double teaming him. Sometimes they had a third guy kind of looking out for him, making sure they kept him blocked on that backside for Hendon. But a lot of times too, I mean, those hands were hanging on, grabbing, wrapping, not allowing him to get upfield, and you can't do that.
No holds on them. No holds on Tennessee. Look, I got to agree with you. First off, I'm pissed off at the refs. I mean, I'm going to call it out there, Jay. You be the neutral guy. I'm not. I just thought they did a terrible job. They didn't even know what down it was at one point, and then the hit on Bryce Young should have been targeting in 15 yards, but whatever, right? Still a great game. I mean, really, the fact that it came down to 2 kicks at the end of the game like that.
Crazy.
It's one of the all-time greats, man. I mean, like, you got to say, like, in this rivalry, which is my favorite rivalry, it was crazy how good this game was. It took it took a perfect effort and officiating for Tennessee to finally beat Alabama, but you know what? They did, and it really, to me, this shakes a lot of things up. I mean, look, Tennessee, I mean, I think they're better than Georgia. I mean, we'll find out when those two teams play. We'll see how they move on after this game. But this is an enormous win for them. This is a win over Alabama. It doesn't happen a lot. This isn't a look-ahead game. It's not like anybody wasn't paying attention. You know what? This was 2 top 6 teams going head-to-head. This is a rivalry game, and they beat Alabama. Then when their kicker needed to kick the ball, he got it through. When Alabama's kicker needed to get it through, he missed. And I mean, it's so crazy with all the quarterback play that it came down to a couple of kickers. Yeah,
it was, and really for him at the end, I mean, barely got it past. I think the ball got tipped there at the line of scrimmage. I didn't see the replay on it, but the thing was like a flying saucer going through the air. And I thought, okay, it's not going to make it. I mean, it goes over, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just won like that. But yeah, I mean, this has been 15 long years for Tennessee. They get the win tonight, but Alabama's got a lot to work on, especially on the discipline side when it comes to penalties and stuff. But more importantly, how do they bounce back from this loss? And again, this has been a tough week for them, not knowing if Bryce is going to play or not. A lot around that, as far as him not practicing a ton and doing mostly all the running plays and kind of sending out the pass plays and just really how prepared was he coming in. That was my biggest fear, and he played tremendous. The guy is an amazing competitor. And, nobody's hurting worse right now than those players and those coaches in the locker room. They put a lot of work, a lot of effort into this game. And I thought at times have some really great plays. I think defensively, again, I don't know if it was, Hendon did not have much pressure on him all night long.
None.
And in the back end, I mean, I think all of us knew this coming in and watched him last year as well as he began to elevate his game high at number 11. He's their deep threat. I mean, how are safeties letting that guy get behind them? And when you're in that one-on-one coverage outside like that, there's no way that guy can cover one-on-one. So you got to get help from over the top. And our safeties, for some reason, could not get there. They played too shallow. Should have been getting depth with number 11 running down the seams like that. So that's things they got to work on to get better at.
Yeah, the good news is that Alabama still has a really good chance to be national champs and SEC champs. I mean, this loss doesn't really hurt as far as any of that stuff goes. You just go take care of business. I think if these two teams played with neutral officials in a neutral setting, Alabama wins. But I got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, that's an enormous win for them. All right, look, when we take your calls, you guys got to call. Jay, you can't hear Jay, so just tell us what you're thinking, and then the two of us will chew on it. And then we want to open up the lines for other people that want to call in and talk about this game. So let's go to the phone lines and hear what you guys thought about the game. Who's this and where you calling from?
This is David from Louisiana. Cell phone done blowed up. All these LSU fans laughing, and I told them, I said, well, y'all got beat worse than we did. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible officiating.
Thank
game.
you, David. Thank you.
To a point, it was. But like I said a million times when I call, even in the comments below, the pass interference calls were going to choke us in the ground.
Yeah,
I give all props to Tennessee. They brought their A game. They fought tooth and nail.
Yep.
Alabama fought back, from a 18-point deficit and kept it close. But the pass interference calls is what is going to, and it finally did. It finally put a stranglehold on us. The run game was pretty good. Bryce coming back in was good.
Gibbs was amazing,
like
David.
That interception
David Gibbs is amazing.
That interception in the end zone. Yeah, Tennessee's good.
Yeah.
Tennessee's really good. And I told somebody the other day in the comment box that don't be surprised. I said, I hope Bama beats them by 60 points. I hope they pray to God they do. But Tennessee is legit this year. They have a great coach. They got some good players. They got a really good quarterback. They got some wide receivers that can make space and they're fast. We have wide receivers that can't even catch a ball 2 yards out in front of them.
Right in their bread basket.
Yeah, and I've seen it time and time and time again. And then, on a kickoff, was it a punt? I can't remember what it was. Kool-Aid jumps out of the way and the goofball Robinson, whatever, runs over there thinking he's going to be a hero and run it 80 yards for the end zone and fumbles it. It's sad. And like you said, the only person I've seen get a sack tonight from Alabama was DJ Dale. He fought tooth and nail on the line, got in there, got a sack, but we didn't see the cheetah package. We didn't see nothing. Anderson couldn't get in the backfield, save his life. Turner could barely get in the backfield. That offensive line of Tennessee was blocking. And here's my prediction for the rest of the year. Alabama will rebound from this. They will beat everybody else out. It's going to be Tennessee and Alabama in the SEC championship. And you don't beat Saban twice. With that, roll tide. God bless America. And God bless everybody else in the chats and that's listening. Roll Tide. We're going to get them next time.
Hey, roll Tide. Roll Tide. Thanks, man. Yeah, you're exact. I think you're right. I mean, look, this has kind of been the formula, Jay. You lose one. And this, to me, isn't a bad loss. It's actually, with everything, if you watch this game, I mean, come on. Alabama played a hell of a game today. I don't even know Tennessee's better. They just kind of were like even. They just had more calls to me.
Yeah, I said first of the week that look, this week is a good week for Alabama because the streak and Tennessee's playing this game up so much, but they're number 6 in the country. Alabama number 1 in one poll, 3 in the other, and I think Tennessee's 7 in the other. But they're playing a top tier team. So this loss, the way that it happened, is not going to hurt them. I wouldn't think in the voters' minds. I think if they're thinking rationally, looking at the teams, looking at how they played, look at how Alabama came back after that 18-point deficit. I think, what was it? They went 46 yards in like 12 or 13 seconds there at the end to go get the field. Should never had the seconds to do that.
Should have never had it.
Yeah, should have ran the clock down, kicked the field goal, go to overtime or win it at that point in time. And I know that's something that they'll correct as far as the time management side of it. But, yeah, I mean, Alabama's still in this. They've still got a chance to work their way back in, learn from this, get better from it, and we'll see.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Hanging out on the BamaInsider YouTube channel. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? It's Demetrius from North Carolina.
Demetrius, jump in, man. Tell us what you think.
Well, I gotta hold my head up when I go out here on the road and when I'm in Knoxville. I know they're gonna be coming for me, but I mean, it's hard going against the referees and the John Brown. Tennessee won. I'm not want to hear that nonsense that they all this. They got a good team. The Lightning, they just done lightning struck in the bottle for them. They were ready for the game. They was ready. I was disappointed how we came out. First drive we stalled. Come on, Bill. We got to put something together. You got to be on script. They can score. And I just say, I mean, it's hard. I mean, in that environment, it was going to be difficult. But I still think we could have won by at least 2 touchdowns. All the penalties, maybe Coach Saban need to get like Coach K in basketball. Go talk to the refs all game long. Cause good gracious, can we get a call on our side? I mean, did you see that travesty with Jermaine Burton when they were grabbing him all the way down the field?
They didn't see it.
Come on now.
They didn't see it. They saw the interception at the end of the game that would have won it for Alabama. They certainly saw that one. But they didn't see Will Anderson being held all night. I mean, come on, man. This officiating was not good.
I guarantee you this. They talking about the power that Nick Saban has. I guarantee they won't be refereeing no the SEC championship game. So we kicking ass. Excuse my language, but we're gonna
go ahead.
We're gonna destroy it from here on out. And that's all I gotta say. Roll Tide.
Hey, roll Tide, man.
Roll Tide.
Great to hear from you, Demetrius. I concur, Jay. I concur with Demetrius.
I'm getting texts
that
they tore the goalpost down.
Oh,
Have
of
you seen
course,
that?
Jay. Of course. I mean,
already had the others
they
ready
don't
to
burn
go.
Knoxville down. I mean, like, don't burn the city down. It's just a football game. Where are those goalposts going to end up? I don't know, but you guys deserve to tear them down because you beat a hell of a good Alabama football team tonight. All right, let's go back to the phones again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Perry from Alabama.
What's up, Perry?
When I look at this game, I think we have to look at Golden. I mean, for years, he's gotten the excuse of new talent, new talent, new talent. How much talent have we returned? When the first three possessions were running nothing but man, and it's just, slot receiver Hyatt gone. But when we finally start going zone defense, Hendon Hooker has to hold the ball a little bit and go. And then that's when we got the pick. That's when he's struggling to read the defense. And that's when we should have had the pick in the end zone. But obviously the refs, I mean, you're talking about not calling anything. What was it in the first half when Bryce took a forearm to the back of the head?
No, they took a helmet to the
They
head.
don't call the
And a
It was a
forearm.
helmet. Yeah,
they
and a
don't
forearm.
put the face-
And a forearm.
They didn't
don't-
see that, though.
they
Look,
don't-
that's the
they don't
stuff
take-
that
they
pissed
don't
me
call the
off.
face-
Yeah, sorry, Perry.
They don't call the face mask on Isaiah Bond when he's up in the air.
No, I
Yep.
didn't see that either.
But also, and I told you, and I brought this stat to you last week about Will Reichert on the right hash.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
kicked it on the right hash again and missed.
4 times.
It's like, I thought once we got that first down, I'm not for settling for 50-yard field goals. Let's run 3 balls to get 5-6 yards and go.
Look, if Gibbs catches the
I'll
pass
hang
that
up.
was right in his hands, we're not even talking about this right now, And he had a great game. I mean, I think he's one of our best players,
I
but
agree, but
they dropped the ball way
I
too
can't let-
much.
I mean, I agree with that. But, I can't get mad at Gibbs when he's been carrying the
I
team the
know.
last
You're
3
right.
weeks.
And he did, too. He's
So,
Mr.
I'll hang
Reliable,
up,
Perry.
You guys keep up the good work.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
man.
Yeah,
Thank
he's
you.
great.
Hey, roll Tide, man.
Y'all have a great rest
You
of the
too.
day.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Perry. All right, let's go right back at it again. As you guys come on, just tell us what you're thinking, and then Jay and I will chew on it, get to another call. Alabama, tough loss to Tennessee tonight on a last-second field goal. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Marvin Smith from Michigan.
What's up?
What's up?
Hey, you guys. It was a good game. The refs stunk, but at that last series, we threw too many times. I think we should at least try to run it a couple times, at least. And I give it to Tennessee. Tennessee was prepared for us, and our defensive backs are questionable. They have all year. And I'll just let you guys go and roll Tide.
Hey, roll Tide up there in
Roll Tide.
Michigan, man. Yeah, look, Jay, you said it. Clock management at the end of the game, it wasn't good enough. It cost Alabama the game.
You got to run the clock down. First down, I think, run there, and then you got timeouts left in order to make sure you have time for the field goal if you need it. You're working your way towards that field goal positioning, and I think there at the end of the game, it's just you don't want Tennessee to get it back. And again, they went 40-something yards in like 13 seconds. So the defense is playing a little bit soft as well. No pressure on Hendon, as we talked about throughout the game. But, you get to that point, I think you just run the clock. You get it to about 4, 5 seconds or 3 seconds, whatever you need, and just to kick the ball, and then no time left. And either you win the game or you go to overtime. So I know they'll look back at that and kind of kick themselves for not taking that approach and giving even 15 seconds to Hendon there at the end of the game, and for them to come down and get the field goal. So, and it's weird. I mean, like, you feel it in your gut, don't you? Like right when that happened, you're like, man, that's too much time for that offense, and especially what they had still 2 or 3 timeouts left to burn. So, and again, give Heupel credit. I mean, he was hyped after the game, and his game plan coming into it, he did a very good job of really finding and exploiting Alabama in the secondary, especially with Hyatt getting the 5 touchdowns. And what a career for them. I mean, what a career day for him. 32 first downs for Alabama, 28 for Tennessee. Alabama was 6 of 13, so less than 50% on third down, and they were 5 of 11, same thing, about the same percentage. And total yards, Alabama 569, Tennessee 567, so Alabama 2 more yards. The Tennessee passing, Bryson had 400 Bryce, I'm sorry. I got Braxton, my son, and Bryce. Bryce, 455
Your son
yards
was
passing.
on TV a lot tonight. My wife pointed that out.
385.
Like, look, there he is. I was like,
he's actually on the picture that he keeps showing of Jason McClellan coming down the sideline. The coaches lined up right there. He's right there on the right side of that Jason McClellan picture. So, pretty cool. But, again, every game we come out of the Texas game, even really every game this year, it's been – and the ones that they've lost or got close to losing with Texas, it's been about the mental mistakes. The penalties, again, 17 tonight, the most. I think they tied a record at one time and then surpassed that, whatever it was, on the 17 penalties. But pretty amazing the things that they have done to hurt themselves all year, more than things that they can do to help win that game. So I mean, one of the big ones too. I mean, because it gave them a score, they got the ball. It was the punt where Quinteria. Oh my gosh, Robinson goes and touches the ball. Maybe he thought it hit Kool-Aid. I couldn't tell. I mean, it kind of looked that way from when I was watching. I was like, oh, did I just hit him the way the ball reacted? So I don't know if he thought that, but why try to scoop it and run? Just get on the ball.
Yeah.
If you think it's just go down and get the ball.
I know.
And that was a huge turn. I mean, Coach Saban, he knew that the momentum there was shifting directly towards Tennessee, and he was very upset about that. But just another mental error that you can't have.
Yep. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Just tell us what you're thinking, and then we'll chew on it. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, Jay, how y'all doing, man? This is Sam from Alabama, bro.
Sam, you better perk up. It's just we're still going to win the championship.
Hey, man. Hey, shoot. It's now or never, man. Because,
ain't no more.
This could possibly be Bryce's last year. I mean, if we don't get it this year, I mean, how? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But, man, this loss, there's a lot of blame to go around on this loss, man. It's a combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of course, the players not being ready for this game and this environment. Combination of bad offensive play calling. There's no innovation to our offense. It's just, we just line up and play. It's just easy to play against Alabama's offense. You don't have to make too many adjustments on defense. We're not trying to do anything to confuse the defense at all. There's no trickery or anything like that. We just, I've heard Utah State's defensive coordinator say that our offense wasn't hard to figure out at all. But I know we won that game, but it was just looking at our offense. It's just plain Jane to me. Like I said, there's a lot of blame to go around. Some of it on the players, a lot of it's on coaching, and of course it's don't nobody want to say that blame the game on the refs, but the refs. Come on, man. 16,
Sam, I want to blame him.
On 1 team.
Yeah, Sam, I want to blame him. Jay's the voice of reason here. I thought they stunk tonight. I thought they made some bad calls. I thought this was awful.
Nick, some of the calls,
I just don't think you put it in their hands.
Some of the calls,
I agree.
Some of the calls were legitimate. Some of the calls were legitimate. Other calls was like, man, if it's in that gray area, you don't call that, man, because you're not sure. They reviewed the Bryce Young targeting call. The guy dipped his helmet, and they came back and say, no, it wasn't targeting.
Oh, wait a second. That's not targeting. Except a 400-pound guy just went head first into our quarterback. I mean, come on.
Right. Well, 360-pound guy went head first into 180.
Right. And then you wonder why no one can stay healthy playing quarterback anymore.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's just, it was from the start, man. From the start of the game, the referee was calling. They called something on the first play of the game, and then to the very end of the game. You know, through all that, man, we still had an opportunity to win this ball game. It's unfortunate that Will, missed that field goal. I know he feel bad. He missed a couple last week.
Yeah.
Missed one today. I thought it was going to make it, man. It was just.
It would have been a Daniel Moore print,
like you said,
if he'd have made that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It would be one of these
could've-
right here, guys. He would have been on one of these. A lot of pressure. Like Van
like you
Tiffin.
all said, man. It was like you all said. It was bad management of the clock by coaching staff, Coach Saban, and Bill O'Brien. Man, we got first down with like 30-some seconds left on the clock. We probably call a pass play and throw it out of bounds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
except the
football,
Tennessee
man,
guy
up
was
the middle.
always getting hurt. Did you notice that too? Every time we're moving the ball, there's
Yeah,
another
saw
Tennessee
that.
guy
Exactly.
laying on the ground
It's-
again. Okay, well, he's hurt. Come on, man.
Hey, that's what teams have to do to beat Alabama. You have to stoop that low to beat Alabama, right? You have to have all these factors go into play just to beat Alabama.
That's right.
16, 17 penalties. Guys going down, faking injuries, right? They're a good team. You got to give them credit. They made the plays, man. They made the plays to put us on our heels. They made the plays to come back in the game. We didn't make some plays in that game, and we did make some plays, but it got overturned. I just don't dig. I'm not honestly. I haven't been a big Pete Golden guy, and for them to put up 51 points on our defense, we said on paper coming into this season, we said that this defense was on paper.
Oh, it's supposed to be
probably
good.
one of the best defenses in the country. It still is, but come on, man. I mean, I don't think that Malachi Moore, I like him. Malachi Moore and Brian Branch are safeties. They can't cover, especially elite type of receivers in the slot. Why isn't Eli Ricks out on that corner? I can see Cherry Arnold. He's gotten better. He's got a starting cornerback position. Why isn't he came in as a safety? So he has that safety type and cornerback type skills. He can play the slot. He can cover. These other guys can't cover. But that's all I have to say, man. It's just frustrating that we have to deal with all that. The environment was good for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Everything was right for them today for upset victory.
Yep.
The referees had to play their part. Our coaching staff had to make bad play calls, or I ain't gonna say bad play calls, but it just on offense it was just plain James.
Yep.
Defensive, I'm not understanding why Kool-Aid McKinstry came off with his guy. If they're playing man to man, why is Kool-Aid McKinstry coming off that guy? I don't get it. Play
Sometimes
a
they
two-man
pass it
in
on.
that situation.
Right.
But
right.
they shouldn't have even been in that position, Nick.
Yeah.
Jay, they shouldn't have been in that position. We should have managed that clock. The clock should have went down to at least 3 seconds left in the game for us to kick a field goal. We should have got it to the middle. We should have got it to the middle of the field. But we out there throwing passes at the end of the game. It just, it's a combination of everything for us to get beat, and that's what has to happen for teams to beat us, man.
Yeah.
So
well, thanks, Sam.
that's all I got to say, man. I appreciate y'all for taking my call, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. And for those out there listening, man, don't have too many drinks tonight, man. It's going to be all right.
Hey, the sun's coming up tomorrow. Roll Tide. Roll Tide, man. Thank you so much.
Roll Tide, man. Take care.
Jay, you can chew on that a little bit. He said don't have too many drinks.
As you drink. Let's keep it rolling. I like hearing the calls.
Me too, man. Great calls so far. Yeah. All right, right back at it. Just throw out your take, and then Jay and I will chew on it as you hang out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Who's this and where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Trey calling from Bessemer.
What's up?
Yeah, pretty much, man. Just gotta, say congratulations to Tennessee. They've done it after 15 years. But, of course, we can talk about the officiating. I kind of feel like that's the low-hanging fruit. But really, when it comes down to all of it, it's all on us as a team. Really, unfortunately, I got to put it all on Coach Saban, man. It's just a lot of decisions when it comes to just who is the coaching and who's calling these plays when it comes to offense and defense. Like two callers already said about the defense, Pete Golden, it comes down to some of his play calling, to begin the game. It seemed like they could get anything they wanted in the middle of the field. It was like the middle of the field was always wide open every single play. And that's how, we got behind so early. And then, back to our vanilla play calling on offense. It's just, when we had, play callers like Lane Kiffin and, Sarkisian and Mike Locksley and Brian Daywell, it was so much creativeness done that it didn't matter if you knew where the ball was going. The play was still going to happen, like with Sarkisian. And then last year with Devontae Smith, you knew exactly where the ball was going if the water got hurt. But he had so many creative play callings where it didn't matter. Perfect example was that national championship game against Ohio State. It was like you knew exactly where the ball was going, but he was getting open every single time. And it just seemed like with the offense we have now, the skill players we have, it's just not that creativeness with Bill O'Brien for whatever reason. And it's just, it's kind of, sad to see, when you play a game like this, it all comes out on both sides where you got at the both, offense did pretty good tonight, so, we still did get in spite of that, but the defensive side is just no excuse for that, man. And then it's all on the secondary, Coach Saban loves his DBs. And it's like, in all of Alabama history of all these losses, it usually comes down to secondary play every single time. And that's just, something that wows me every time. So,
they got toasted tonight.
We can tighten it up.
Man, they got toasted.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then like, a caller said, the excuse for Pete Golden earlier in his career was, you got these young players and things like that. But when you look at players like Helms and Battle, these guys are 3+ year starters. It's like, where's the development of getting better? It's like Helms is like 3 to 4 touchdowns on him, his assignment. And it's just like, man, where's the development of, like Coach Saban, like how are they creating value for themselves? Because that's on tape, I'm sure a lot of those guys decreased their value tonight. So, I mean, you got to have a little pride out there.
Great call. Then roll tide, my friend. I'm gonna let Jay chew on what you said, but I concur. Jay, I know you're going to disagree with me, but I just don't. I feel like there's a lack of creativeness from this offense. I see what Tennessee's doing, and I say that, and look, Alabama scored 49 points. So it's not like they went out there and didn't move the ball. But after seeing like Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian, I agree, man. I think that they could be a little more creative with the offense.
Yeah, and I think with those guys, you had more of a side-to-side screens, a lot of stuff going on that they ran, a little bit more, as people want to say, creative. Bill is from an NFL background. Look at the guys that from last year, the year before, where, you got multiple guys in the first round at quarterback, at receiver. I mean, I understand everybody wants to find something to blame. I don't think when it comes to creativity, and I've made this statement many times, and maybe it's going to sink in at some point in time, Bryce Young has control over the play calls. He tells Bill he hates anything that's a trick. He doesn't want anything that he doesn't feel like he can control.
Right.
And he feels like that if it's just a wasted play, he wants to be in control of the play. So he is, as I would say, very much in control of what's happening on that field. The plays are being called, and that's why he's been so successful, because it's what he believes in, what he can do, what he thinks he can make big plays with. There have been times where he's actually shook off calls that are coming in. You normally don't do that as a quarterback in college, but that just shows you how much trust they have in him. And
plus,
also,
he's really smart.
Very smart. He's really smart. Yeah. Well,
these are two great quarterbacks tonight. Yeah. I mean, really, this is as good as you're going to get in college, Jay.
Yep. Yeah. And my son has been in the room with all of them: Tua, Jalen, Mac. This one with Bryce, with Tyson, with this transfer to Arizona State, to other great quarterbacks have been in that room, and he says by far the best he's ever been around, and that says a lot about him and the type player that he is. But I think a lot of the creativity and the things that people want to see would be halfback passes, reverses, all that type of stuff. Those things are declined, by the quarterback, and good for him though. I mean, he wants to run his plays. It's his offense, and Bill treats him like an NFL quarterback because that's where he's going to be soon, and allows him to make a lot of the calls. So, and again, I made this statement at the very beginning of the show. If you're just joining us, according to, and I've got great sources there, Bryce did not throw one time in practice this week.
Yeah,
he had a 0 count. For him to go out and do that after 2 weeks off and have not been throwing the ball, for them to rest him and go out and have the kind of warm-ups that he had early on as far as getting ready for the game, and then to go out and put up the numbers he did, 35, 52, 455 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Take those hits. Take those hits.
Take the hits. Take the hits, move around, make plays.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding game for a young man. And what a great leader, what a great person he is to have out there on that field representing the University of Alabama. And there's just other guys that need to step up. And again, Jahmyr Gibbs, he had a great game, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. So that, there's a lot of positive to take from this, but it still hurts. Man, it hurts the fans, but I promise you, those players are hurting worse than anybody, and they got to get on that plane. They got to come back to Tuscaloosa. They have to deal with all the scrutiny and all the stuff that's going to happen. That's part of playing the game, part of being in the arena. But don't give up hope on this team. This team's going to bounce back from this, and they still got a great shot of playing for the national championship. More importantly, they just need their first goal is to win the West, then to get to the SEC title game, win that, and then hopefully get in the playoffs and have a chance to compete again. So this is, if you're going to lose it this time of year and lose it to a top 16.
This is a tough schedule. This is I've said it for a year. This is the toughest schedule I remember Alabama playing in a long, long time.
And this is going to clean things up. 17 penalties, you can't have it.
This is a tough schedule. All right, well, let's go back to the phones, Jay. And again, jump in, tell us what you're thinking, and Jay and I will chew on it as you hang out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Big Buck.
Who?
What's happening, Big Buck? Got smoke in the
Big
background.
Buck. Hey, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Well, I seen better, but I just got a couple of quick points I want to make. Then I'm gonna get off and let the rest of the callers call in. First of all, I just want to say we can't put this on Bill O'Brien. Anytime the offense put up 49 points, I don't care what level of football you're playing, your defense got to take some credibility for this loss. Even when we were down 18 points, we still came back and took the lead, but the defense couldn't hold. And I think that our scheme with putting safeties at the nickel and dime is not working anymore. They just exposed us. And, well, I think that we're not a very disciplined team. The penalties definitely hurt us. And we're not going to win a championship with that many penalties. Now, let's not forget one thing. Georgia lost to us last year in the SEC championship and still won the national championship. So we still control our own destiny. Don't mistake and think that this is the end of the season. Yeah, the loss hurt. But, this might be the turning point of the season. I think we need to be humbled a little bit because we were just skating by in some of the games we played earlier this year. So maybe this is a wake-up call for us. And I get off and listen to everybody else calling.
Hey, Big Buck, roll Tide, man. Thanks for the great call. Really appreciate it.
There's Braxton right on the sideline.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull him up. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look at that. All that FaceTime he's getting.
Exactly. Good points by him. And, anytime your offense puts up 49 points, anytime, defense has got to step up.
When Big Buck calls in, he's bringing it, man.
Exactly. Yeah. But, defense got to step up at those moments, and you can't give up that many points. I mean, that's what's so different about. But here's the thing. I say that and also realize, too, the offenses have changed since what you're used to with Alabama defenses, holding people to 3, 6, 10 points. The offenses now are so hard to defend. And Heupel does a good job spreading you out. I mean, to me in that, look, I know little than what those guys have gone through and gone through this and looked and studied the film. But to me, it's 2-zone. It's maybe one-man robber or whatever. Have a guy in the middle of the field and a safety deep in order to keep those deep passes from being even open the way that they were. I just couldn't believe Hyatt had 6 catches, 5 of those for touchdowns, long touchdowns. And they were all based on the one-on-one coverage and no safety help over the top. And that is, nobody can, that guy is a speedster. He's a track star. You're not going to be able to cover a guy like that when you're backpedaling. It's tough to do that. So it's a tough position to play the defensive backfield. And Coach Saban, his philosophy is to put them on islands, believe in them. That way you can put more pressure and you can stop the run. But against a team like Tennessee, and they did a good job too. Heupel, again, running the quarterback, things that they did in order to, when they saw Alabama dropping back into certain coverages, they ran him or they ran the ball on second down most of the night, not allowing them to get the cheetah package on the field. They just said, hey, we're going to run it on second down. We're going to keep our same personnel. We're not going to give them guys a chance to get anything out there or get it. Well, it really just did it all night, trying not to let Alabama's personnel get changed up. But again, a lot of positive things to draw from this. But I know all of us are very upset about the loss. But again, as we've said all throughout the show, if you're going to lose now, lose to a top 6 team, and just they got to rebound from this. Now it's about the psychology of the team. It's about the leaders of this team. Who steps up? I'll be interested to hear if anybody in the locker room, player-wise, had anything to say after the game to get these guys motivated and ready to practice and get prepared for the next one.
And this is going to be a weird statement, but there's a part of me that was more disappointed with the Texas A&M win than this loss. You know, and I mean, like I would love for Alabama to have won today, but I'll tell you what, man, they did so many things right in this game, and I just can't go back to some of those. You know what? If they go back and they look at the film, you know, how many calls did they miss where they're being held in the pass interferences? Because it seemed like the officials got pretty much every time that Alabama did anything wrong. I felt like that was the difference in the game, but I thought they fought back. They were down big. They came back. They had the lead. You know, if the interception that Kool-Aid had at the end of the game, there isn't a pass interference. I thought it was a jump ball, me personally, you know, but I guess to them it wasn't. Alabama wins the game, you know, but at the end of the day, like this is one of the greatest games that has been played this football season. I mean, this is a game that they're going to be talking about for 20 years or 30 years. This is one of the greatest third Saturday in October games that's ever been played. I mean, think about that.
Kicker
Put it
will
in
never
perspective.
The kicker will never buy another meal and
He
not
shouldn't.
Tennessee.
Right. I mean, it was ugly, but it was good for them, right?
Yeah,
it's still a great game. Obviously, we didn't win, but you know what? We stunk it up against Texas A&M, fumbling and everything else. You know, today, just kind of a different feel. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And guys, as you jump on, give us your perspective, and let's get to another call after a tough loss. 52-49 of all things to Tennessee. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Mick, how you doing? This is Brandon from D.C.
Brandon, what's up, man? I was just up there.
Hey, I know it, man. Again, tough loss, still roll tide. But one of the things I wanted to say was I know a lot of people are getting on Bill O'Brien, but what you're starting to see, and this is what I try to tell people, you see the progression of Bryce, right? So he's running that offense. So when the clock is running down and he's making all the chains and shifts, that is him taking control of the offense. Bill O'Brien is allowing him to be a pro-style quarterback to be able to run the offense. And again, the plays are there, but it's a lot different when you have Mechie and you have Jameson, two NFL caliber receivers that understand defense, that know exactly the feel of a game and know how to get into space. You can just see the difference, right? And Kobe Prentice and Isaiah Bond are going to be ballers. They're just young. They just need a little bit of time and to get on the same page. But Burton, he drives me wild. Even on that what should have been a pass interference when they grabbed him, he didn't run a great route, right? And so that just tells me, again, it's a feel. You can be fast. You could be a person that's extremely quick, but if you don't have a feel for the game, know how to get in the zones. You saw Bryce throwing people wide open. It was amazing, right? And you see Trayshawn Holden he had a tough drop, right? He had his hands positioned incorrectly. Mm-hmm. He's running across. He's running a big route. Bryce was getting everyone open, man. That guy is cool like the other side of a pillow. He's ice cold, right? But again, you just see the style that they run is different. The Texas A&M game was different because, again, Bryce is making the calls. It's a lot different when Bill O'Brien has to make every single call, make all the adjustments. He only has so much time, right? So, again, you see the offense is clicking. Jahmyr Gibbs is a monster. That's Alvin Kamara 2.0, phenomenal player. But at the end of the day, I don't know why they don't put Eli Ricks in. I'd love to see him in there. And I would love to actually see them possibly shift Kool-Aid back and maybe have him almost be in the star position and maybe shift over Branch to safety. So, you know, again, I think that the defense is going to get there. They're going to get better. The defensive backs, Carolyn Arnold is a phenomenal athlete. And I think, again, he's getting better. He's getting more confidence. But it's going to take time, right? And, again, the Tennessee Volunteers offense is, again, it's that spread style, you know, rip and run, tempo. You don't ever see that in any NFL. You barely see it with any other teams. That gets you off your feet, right? It's hard to substitute. Your team is tired, and they're just getting open lanes a lot of times just because, again, they're looking to the sideline trying to get a call, and they're already on to the next play. So I'll tell everybody, just have patience. Mick, I'm right there with you, man. We still got an opportunity. Everything is in front of us. I think we're going to win out. I know this is going to really be a tough one to swallow, but we'll get there. And I think we're going to meet Tennessee again. I think they beat Georgia handily. And then we'll be back in this, and we'll be having a great talking about Roll Tide at the SEC Championship, man. So
hey, great
I
call.
won't hold you too much longer, man. Love y'all fellas, man, and Roll Tide.
Hey,
Thank you.
I'll tell you this right now. When we beat him in Atlanta, I'm smoking a cigar.
Why not? Why not?
I'm smoking.
Yeah.
I'm giving my buddy Jay. He's a big Tennessee fan. I'm giving him a cigar. I got one of the official VFL cigars from the Smokies. They gave it to me. Now I'm going to give it to him as a congratulations because I know it meant a lot to those guys. But when we beat him in Atlanta, Jay, you and I, we're going to stoke up some of those R&R cigars.
All right, let's go back to what he was talking. I thought a really great call there from Brandon from Washington D.C. But the one of the guys we have not mentioned, Cameron Latu. I thought he had a really good game today. I thought blocking wise, as well as catching the ball, some great catches. I mean, the ones that a lot of tight ends can't make, he can make them. It shows his progression and getting better. And I agree with him about young receivers. We got some really good ones, Prentice, and I'm really big on Isaiah Bond. I know what he's done in practice, I know he's done in scrimmages, and I think he's going to be a star for Alabama down the road. But this, again, a learning experience, and I'm just amazed how well Bryce played. I mean, he was a little bit rusty to start, but then as the game kept going, he just got better and better and better. The hits he took throughout the game to get back up and just kept – it was like a heavyweight fight, and he just kept fighting, and standing in there, making the throws, throwing guys open. That one throw across the middle to I think it was Ja'Cory Brooks where he just timed it out, threw him open. It was a great throw.
Middle of three guys.
Yeah, middle of three guys. I mean, just put it right in the only spot it could be. Just shows just what type of quarterback he is. So those are the type of games, if you're an NFL scout or your coach looking at guys that are going to be playing the next level, I mean, you're just amazed by how this guy moves around, can make plays, extend plays. More importantly, how fast his mind processes and sees guys open. That throw to JoJo Earl down the sideline was amazing. When he saw him open, is just moving up in the pocket. When he hit Latu for the touchdown, he's moving up in the pocket and just kind of flips it to him right there at the goal line. I mean, not many quarterbacks not only can do that, but most can't see that. And he sees the field as well as anybody that I've ever seen play that position, especially any that I've seen play at Alabama.
Love the comment section. Doug says there's some Auburn fans trolling us tonight. Doug, I agree with you, man. If you're an Auburn fan, the last thing you need to do is worry about Alabama and Tennessee. These are two programs that are on the up and up. You guys, another terrible loss today. So don't get on the message board and start killing us. Take care of your own backyard, y'all.
Hey, give them something to be excited about, though.
Look,
I mean, that's
you're not beating Alabama this year.
The only thing they can get hyped up about is tearing down Alabama. So they have nothing to talk about besides us. So
I
that's
love
the way
the
it
comments.
is.
And honestly, Auburn fans, you can hang out here. Look, I know you don't
Most
want
definitely.
You don't want to be on the message board talking about another loss to Ole Miss. Just hang out here with us and cut it up. As long as it's in good fun, we really don't care. This is the BamaInsider YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as you hang out with us on the post-game show. It's presented by Westgate Luxury Condominiums. He's Jay Barker, and I'm Mick Gillispie. I just want to get to some more calls because I know you guys want to chime in. So let's do that when we take your call. Just get to it. Tell us what you're thinking, and then we'll chew on and get to another call. And there's a big backload right now after today's really tough 52-49 loss to Tennessee on that last-second field goal. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, Jay, this Quan, man, calling from New Orleans. Mick, how you doing?
What's up down in New Orleans?
Oh, man, same old same, Mick. Same old same, brother. Look, I got a few points I want to hit on, man. I agree with some callers and I disagree with some callers. I think Tavares Robinson and Charles Kelly, they didn't have that back end ready at all today. It was kind of unfair. You're asking DeMarco Hillams to cover these wide receivers. I just think it was just, they didn't have them ready today, and you could see it. I mean, it was obvious. The wide receiver, the big wide receiver in Tennessee, he had a monster game today.
Hyatt.
So he's going to have that every day if you put DeMarco Hillams on him. I mean, you can't ask a safety to cover that guy. So I don't know what we're going to do as far as moving forward, Nick, but we got to get it together. I mean, we gave up 50 points today. Just think the defense they was just off balance all day. Will Anderson, there was no creativity up front. It was a mess today. It was a mess. And through it all, Mick, we still could have won the game.
Yeah. Great points.
We still could have won the game.
We should have won the game.
We still should have won the game. And, Bill O'Brien, I'm not gonna get on here and get too heavy on him, and I know Jay, is a professional. He's not gonna criticize him on there, but the play calling is vanilla, man. It's no creativity. Tennessee's offense, Mick, you can make a strong case that it looks like our old offense under Sarkisian and Alaki. Creativity. I mean, Josh Heupel took advantage of everything that Alabama let him do. He took advantage of it. Whatever we was lacking at, that's what he attacked. We don't have that no more. We start off these games behind, these type of big games. We start off behind because it's no creativity. It's just, and I don't want to hear this pro style offense. Well, let them play pro style offense when they get to the pros. This is college, man. We try to win national championship. Bryce understands pro style offense when he gets to the NFL. Right now, Bryce is at Alabama, and we need Bryce to do what he can do as far as being creative and finding his weapons. And we got another problem on our hand, Mick, is these wide receivers. We don't have no true wideouts.
Catch the ball too, man. And when he throws it to you in your hands, catch it. Just catch it. You don't even have to run. Just fall down with the ball.
Right. And you don't want to criticize these kids now, but I'm going to tell you like a guy told me, he said, well, they're getting paid now. So,
That's true.
They're getting paid now. Yeah. So we can't criticize them. I mean, Trayshawn Holden, I don't want you showing up in cupcake games. I need you to show up in big games.
That's right.
It's easy to go put 100 yards, 150 yards on Utah State, but I need you to show up when we play these SEC, these dog matches with.
Yeah.
So it was just the game plan was just, it was off today, Mick, but I hope we regroup. We got Mississippi State coming up next. Of course, we got to hear all the pundits, the Paul Feinbaum.
Oh, get ready for it.
Everybody.
I won't be watching ESPN.
Yeah. Right.
I don't even
they're
need
going to drag us for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
But we still got everything in front of us. We still can accomplish our goals. But it just got to be some more creativity. This offense, even with
I agree with you 100%.
Still looks vanilla.
I agree with you.
It still looks
everything
vanilla,
you're saying is exactly how I feel. Everything.
Yeah. It just needs some creativity. I mean, if this same team show up in December in Atlanta, I mean, come on, we might not be able to come back from 18 points down again.
They better get ready for next week. Hey, look, they better get ready for next week, man. Mississippi State is a squad. They can score. That's a good test. It's a good next game. It really is.
I'm so glad we got them at home. It's 1 week at a time. I ain't gonna hold up. I know other people want to get in, but we got to get it together, Mick. And we still got everything in front of us, man. Appreciate you and Jay, man. Y'all doing a wonderful job, man. And roll Tide.
Hey, roll Tide down in New Orleans. Got to go down there and get what are those beignets, right, Jay? Is that what they're called? Those little cakes they got them down there in the square.
Mm-hmm. So good.
Some coffee.
Yeah, Alabama's got Mississippi State at home. Then they at LSU, at Ole Miss, which Ole Miss looked really good today late, especially against Auburn. Then Austin Peay, then the Auburn Tigers. So, they've kind of gotten through what we felt like was going to be the meat of it. But this next game against Mississippi State, this team can put up the numbers. Will Rogers has had an unbelievable game, and unbelievable year so far, putting up big numbers. But LSU has struggled this year. Ole Miss, they're sitting at number 9. They'll probably move up a little bit in the polls as well after the win over Auburn. But, these next 2 weeks are important. Then that Ole Miss game, and then get a little bit of a break with Austin Peay and then get ready to play Auburn. But, you got to think the coaches are going to learn a lot from this. Coach Saban's going to learn a lot from this loss. They're going to look at the film. They're going to have guys, analysts looking at it, evaluating it, seeing what they can get better at. And when he has time to work on something like that after he's seen you and played you, it can be tough to play against the Coach Saban team like that. We've seen it many times before. Look at LSU.
Right.
Was it 2011? Is that right? Or 2011.
I was at both of them.
Yeah, and the 6-9 game, and then they didn't cross the 50-yard line in the championship game. So that's how they are able to take this type of film and look at it and study it and get better. The key again is just the penalties just kill you, push you in long yardage situations, takes away opportunities. The fumble on the punt, or not the fumble, but the trying to pick it up and run and fumble. Those type of mistakes you can clean up, and that's the good thing about all this. And again, we talked about creativity, and probably, yes, I defend Bill O'Brien, and I admit that because I think he's a great coach. I mean, he's coached the highest of levels. There's about 370 plays in their playbook. They're not going to get 370 plays in a game. There is creativity there, but again, it goes back to what guys feel comfortable with and what they want to execute on the field and the plays that they feel comfortable running in certain situations. But to put up 49 points, that's a lot of points. And Alabama defense should not give up that many points in order for your offense or your team to lose after they score 49 points. That's my opinion. We got to play better on that side of the football. Not allow them to get points. We got to play smarter. Yeah,
but play better defense. But I still think, even though Tennessee has, some good wide receivers, I mean, I feel like our running backs are way better than theirs. Our offensive line should be better. They weren't today, though. They just weren't. I mean, there needs to be some improvement in that area. But let's hear what other people think. Let's go back to the phone lines again. And as you guys jump on, tell us what you think. We'll chew on it and get to another call. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Nick and Jay, this is William from Virginia. How you guys doing?
Good.
What's up, William?
Hey, I'm doing great. So I'm going to just run through my points real quick. I'm not going to elaborate because I want to hear what you guys got to say. First, I want to say Roll Tide. My first point is the refs were horrible, but it's football. I get it. Two, I think one of my biggest points is discipline and mindset got to be fixed. No matter the players or the scheme, if you don't have discipline and you don't have that dominating mindset, you're not going to win. It just don't matter. I want to say a big time Roll Tide to Gibbs and Latu. And my fourth point is stop setting up the kicker on the right hash. And then finally, one thing I learned from being in the Marines, I know this isn't combat, it's football, but the same concept kind of applies, is a plan execute or briefed poorly, but executed greatly will outproduce a plan that is briefed greatly, but executed poorly. Roll Tide, Jen.
Hey, Roll Tide, William.
Roll Tide.
Thank you from Virginia. I like that, man. What do you think, Jay? I thought that was a good call.
Yeah, great call. And I mean, not much more to be said there. And I think he, talked about some of the guys who had some excellent games, and again, a lot to build on. But you got to cut down the mental mistakes. They do that, and that's what hurt them all year long. The fumbles, the penalties, all the games that have been close have been because of that. And this one tonight, it cost them in some areas where they could have pulled away a little bit there in the second half. And also too, I mean, again, Bryce, at times was getting the pressure more than Hendon was. It was stepped around it, made plays, extended plays, made guys miss, and came up with some big plays down the field to keep Alabama in this thing.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines and take your calls. You guys have been on fire right now. You've been nailing it, and we want you to keep doing that. Who's this and where you calling from?
Man, this is Mike, man, from California.
What's up, Mike from California?
Delaware right now.
But you're in Delaware right now?
What's up, Nick and Jay? How y'all doing?
What's up, dude?
Yeah, man, we're on the other side of the coast, man, in despair and feeling kind of shaky. So, Roll Tide, everybody. So, let me say this real quick. Got a couple points. Pete Golding, really couldn't do and all that. I see he's gotten better, but for the last couple of years, my big question is, why is our defense not prepared for the no-huddle offense? Like, we're always getting penalized when the other team is running no-huddle. That is a Pete Golding. That is an all defensive coordinator, coaches. That is their responsibility to have the defense prepared. I'm sick and tired of sitting there watching us jump off sides, holding, pass interference because we're not set, we're not prepared, we don't know what we're doing. Secondly, this whole year, to me, when we started off the year talking about Bryce Young and Will Anderson and that being the stalwarts of our team, that to me sent a bad omen for the entire year. Bama has produced quality players on both sides of the ball since I had watched them play. And coming into this year, we didn't have that. We had the Dallas Turners, we have the Helens, we have the the emerging players, the emerging superstars, but we don't have the stalwarts that Bama usually produce every year, offensively and defense. Third, I know everybody talking about the penalties. I know everybody talking about the officiating. I have only felt this sick one other time in sports watching. And I ain't gonna say the year, but it was the Kings against the Lakers in the playoffs.
Oh, dude, I know exactly
like
the game you're talking about. When they were going to let Kobe win that championship. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I felt like it was like, bro, I was
I'm with you,
watching,
man.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a penalty. Yo, that's Kobe getting to the free throw line. Oh, yeah, that's
I
21
remember.
penalties. I mean, I watched the game just like
and I
that.
even like Kobe, but I know exactly that. I've always felt the same way about that game, the same exact way.
Man, look, bro. So with those things all wrapped up, we was on the road. Opportunity to play one of their biggest games in the past 10 years, it seems like to me. And we got dogged in the first quarter. We got dogged in the second quarter, dogged throughout the beginning of the third by the refs.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
It came down to 49-49 with our kickers. Old school game with the kickers, but at the end of the game, 49-49 with Will Riker usually efficient, pushing off to the right. I mean, if all these fans from all these other teams want to call in and blam in and take in and message y'all about their teams and laughing and all that, if Bama's worst game, 18 penalties, and Nick Saban's tenure there, if we lose by 3 points on that, man, I cannot wait to see what these emerging players throughout the rest of this season and going into next year. I feel sorry. I feel bad for Bryce Young, but man, if it took all that officiating, 102,000 people, all the nonsense that was going on to lose by 3 at the end, man, roll tide, we're going to be back at it again.
Thank you.
I'm going to get off the line and let y'all do your thing, man.
Hey, great points in this call. Because I remember that game. Jay, let's get to some of these super chats people have been firing at us here. And when you guys send us money, we're always going to put you on the screen. Every man has his price. Isn't that what the $1 Million Man said back in the day?
That's right.
Him and Virgil hit the belt. All right. Todd says, Jay, these secondary issues, even correctable at this point. Your thought on that?
Yeah, they are, because number one, Tennessee, what they run is kind of out of the box it kind of goes back to like 2010 out in the Big 12 with the kind of offenses that they would run. So Josh Heupel kind of brought that to UCF. He brought it to Missouri. He's up tempo, those type of things. So yeah, I mean, it's very correctable. And I think they can do some things differently as far as just schematically in order to keep all those, keep the safety behind, give them over the top help when it comes to guys like Hyatt that can run down the seam or, over the top. You got to have guys behind that. And the safeties did not keep their depth. So a lot to work on, but still can definitely correct that coming up in the coming weeks.
Now here's another one, Beanie, another super chat. Every man has his price. Thank you, my friend. Interior D-line needs an alpha. If they get pressure in Five's face, big plays don't happen. Secondary can only cover so long.
That's right.
Totally get that.
Yeah, totally get it. And you tell all the defensive backs. Antonio Langham used to talk about this all the time. He said, I was so good in college because I only had to cover for about a second and a half, 2 seconds down the field. He goes, then I could jump things to get interceptions. I could take gambles. And there was just so much more pressure. And he's right. I mean, there hasn't been that alpha dog that's really stepped up at the defensive line position and said, look, I'm going to be the guy that puts pressure. And a lot of that goes back to scheme. Their job is more run-oriented, gap control, kind of taking on the double teams and kind of freeing up the linebackers to make those plays when it comes to the run game. But definitely something that they got to find a guy that can really step up. I think Otis is still young, but I think he's really had some really great games over the last 2 or 3. But there was just Hendon had a lot of time back there to throw the ball, and he's right. Defensive backs, I mean, it's so tough to stay in coverage, especially man on man against those guys, and to give them the opportunity to throw it down the field as far as they did. All those big plays. I was looking back at the stats: 17 penalties, 130 yards. Unbelievable as far as just that's a huge number. They had 6 for 39 yards. They had the 2 turnovers. We had 1. But Mick, we had the ball 15 more minutes than they did. We had
Yeah,
a whole quarter
I know.
of possession
I know.
than they did.
That's
Yeah,
how
30
they play, though. That's
Yeah.
kind of
They're
playing
up-tempo.
into what they
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Look, the penalty to me that pushed me over the top was the interception on the jump ball. And then and I'm looking at it and I'm going, I mean, you can call pass interference on every single jump ball pass, and Kool-Aid intercepts it, the game's over, and these guys are, here comes another flag. I mean, I should have known just because of the way that things were going tonight. But
yeah. Well, and let me take this back too. I wasn't even thinking about it. We were talking about it earlier, but 49. Alabama put up 42 points. Defense got 1-7 from the fumble recovery for a touchdown by Dallas Turner. So 42 points, Alabama able to put up against 52 points to their offense.
Yep. All right. Well, another super chat here. I'm going to try to throw it up here. See if I can do this. I might need Chris to help me. Chris, can you put War's super chat up? Are you able to do that? I'll take another call and then we'll get to that. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the phone lines again as you hang out with Jay Barker and Mick Gillispie on the BamaInsider YouTube channel. Who's this and where are you calling from?
I'm Garrison calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
What's up, Garrison?
Hey, what's up, man? Roll Tide, man. One of the best games all day today. Tough loss for Alabama, but one point that I wanted to make is when you're a team and you've been on top of the food chain for so long, like Alabama has, you're going to get every team best shot. I don't care if it's Auburn or it's the worst team in the SEC. Everybody is going to come to play Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
The defense for Alabama today didn't look good. There was no pressure on the quarterback at all. The DBs didn't look like they played well at all. The offense to me played well, but the defense just didn't play well. And I guess that's been a problem for the past 2 seasons that I've been watching Alabama is their defense haven't been like it used to be, in those years where Alabama was really dominant. They really depended on their defense, and I know this is a new era of college football, but, Alabama definitely has to step up their defense. It was some questionable penalty calls. I've been hearing people say that it was. But, Alabama, they just got to regroup. The season is not over yet. They still can go to the SEC championship game because Tennessee is a SEC East team. So they can definitely still make it to the SEC championship game. And I expect them to play better, play more discipline, and do better. But all the criticism and stuff, that Alabama's received, you're going to receive that when you're a great program. But, we got to expect these other college football programs to compete. We can't expect Alabama to win by 60 every game.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody expects them to win by 60 every game because they've been so dominant. But these other college football programs, they have money, they have players, they have 4 or 5-star recruits too, and they're coming to play. So I don't like all the criticism that they receive, win, lose, or draw. It's like even when they lose, it's like if they don't win by 30, they still lost. So that's just the narrative around college football. But they'll be back though. I think they'll finish out the season strong, and hopefully we see Tennessee in the SEC championship game if they could beat Georgia.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Tennessee. I want them to win every game and Alabama to win every game, and let's run this back and see what happens.
Yeah.
Great call. Thank you, man. Roll Tide. All right, Jay, before I go back to the phone lines again, let me throw it up here. Here it is. Just want to say this. Been 15 years since we beat Bama, this Tennessee team. It is one of the best that we've seen in a long time, and I'm not taking anything away from this Tennessee team. The president of the team, Randy Boyd, is a friend of mine. I think that the president of the University of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And before he got there, I mean, you'd see like the people that were running Tennessee's, school and kind of overseeing the athletic department. And it didn't take long to realize why they were so bad. But Randy's he's a successful business guy. He's smart, and he brought stability in. They got Danny White, their athletic director. Guy knows what he's doing. They brought Josh Heupel, and honestly, it didn't take long. It did not take long for Tennessee to become a respectable team again. I mean, look, they stunk for 15 years. It's not like it wasn't just that Alabama was that good. It was that Tennessee was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed up this year, and they're a really exciting football team.
Yeah, Heupel has done a tremendous job, and just the short amount of time that he's been there to turn this thing around like he has. And the key piece to the puzzle for them, I mean, there's a lot of guys, but to me, Hendon Hooker, the quarterback, I mean, not just on the field, what he does, his presence, his calmness, I think he gives to the team, his leadership, but off the field, just what a great kid he is, and the things that he's done in the community. So when they were able to go get him for Virginia Tech in the portal and bring him to Tennessee, that was a huge deal for them. To get a player like that. So he's a great leader, made some great throws today, and you got to give Tennessee credit and give him credit for how he played and even bounced back after the interception when he overthrew the guy. That's, the first pressure Alabama really had, where they were able to kind of get to him and push him back a little bit to where the ball was thrown high and overthrow, we get the interception. But, you got to give him a lot of credit. Had a great game today as far as throwing the ball, and him and Hyatt had a great connection, and we just could not figure it out on defense how to scheme that up. I mean, after the first two happened, I thought for sure we're going to get safety help over the top, and we just never got there. I don't know if that was the safety's fault that they weren't, reading things out. You would think that if number 11 is lined up in the slot, that draws your attention immediately to write down that seam, and you want to make sure you're there in position to make the play. But they didn't make that adjustment.
All right, Jarquez says mistake by coaching staff after the first. They went to the hurry up. They didn't have to. We talked about this. We both agree. Run it, get the clock down. Don't give Tennessee any time. Take it to overtime and see what happens there. And I feel like Alabama would have eventually, with better players, would have won the game in overtime. So,
They've
they
been there.
didn't. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
They've been there, but they didn't. They didn't get there. They gave Tennessee enough time to score, and that's how things ended today, 52-49. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Jay Barker, Mick Gillispie on the BamaInsider YouTube channel. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Adams.
Say that again.
Hey, Jahi Adams. And I'm calling from Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay, what's up, man? What are you thinking about the game?
Well, I just feel like the refs, they had some bad calls, man. Yeah, they had some bad calls, and the defense played their best today.
Yeah, look,
Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I mean, the defense, we talked about that. They didn't have a whole lot of stops. They got to stop. And then, we got a guy running out there and touching a football. Just stuff that Alabama doesn't normally do.
Yeah.
We get going out there and touching that punt. And what are we doing? We don't do that here.
We don't do that. That's not how we play. That's not how we play. I was just so disappointed in the defense, and I just can't believe it. I just can't. That's crazy.
Hard to swallow.
But Roll Tide, we still can win. We still can win the SEC championship. I ain't down my team. Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, man. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to the rematch. I'm not going to smoke my cigars. I'm going to keep them. I might get some more from Reagan over at R&R, and we'll be ready for the rematch. Hopefully they'll be there, because I think we'll be there. I think this will be an eye-opener for this football team, and I think they're going to get right back into position to be in the SEC championship game. Let's go back to the phone lines again. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Jay Mount, Polk County, Florida.
What's up, Jay?
Nothing much. Hey, thing is, last play of the game. I mean, everybody can talk about what they want to. Watch the last play of the game. Kicker, false start.
Really?
Last play of the game. False start on the kicker. Alabama, you win. You score 45 points, you should win the game. No question about it.
Yeah.
But watch. I've tried to rewind it. Watch anything. Somebody should have seen the last play of the game. All eyes on the kicker. Kicker, false start. Nobody called it. No other plays going on. Everybody, all eyes on the kicker. Move it back 5. He's not making that kick.
Right.
Take a look at it. Let's talk about it. Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide. I will. I will take a look at that.
And I just pulled up the rule real quick. It says it's like the back in motion who pivots sharply, goes towards the line of scrimmage just before the snap. He missed the timing, went early. That is a false start. The kicker again, this is back from 2012, but
right.
But that's the definition of a false start. We saw it with who was it when the backfield for us and did that tonight? Latu went to the backfield.
But they got that one. They didn't miss that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Talk to a few more of you guys before we wrap it up tonight. Deontay Wilder's fighting tonight, so I got to watch that. My guy Deontay. Who's this and where you come from?
What's happening, fellas? I think you knew I was calling. It's Uncle Charles again.
Uncle Charles, what's up, man?
Yeah, I had this conversation with you last week. Let's get down to business. We'll make this very quick. I didn't know I was at the laundromat. Every time I looked around, it was flags on the ground. No college team in history, at least I know, got that many flags called on them. The Alabama team, yeah, they didn't play that good on defense, but they played good enough to win this game 2 times over. I don't care what nobody says. There weren't referees out there today. There was DEA agents, and somebody should have been arrested. I'm telling you right now. I am sick and tired. Let me tell you something. The game should be decided between the 2 teams. The referees supposed to keep order in the game and call flags when you earn the flag.
Yeah.
Did Alabama get flags? Yeah.
Thank you.
But they did not lose the game. The game was over 3 times, y'all. It was over three times. I tell myself, Alabama Nation, I tell myself, I need to go to bed at night. I stay up too long. And why in the world would I watch the werewolf? I don't know why I would watch the werewolf, but I just couldn't. After I went to sleep, I just couldn't get his little beady eyes out my head. And knowing that I was going to be watching that mess before I go to bed, but I did anyway. This right here was messed up. The referees decided this game.
I agree.
And nothing else and nothing. They decided this game. If this young man if a pass interference when you don't turn around, I thought because cornerbacks turned around at least 3 times. And I need not say about Bryce Young. Bryce Young, man, you got to give it to that young man. Because he was getting Deontay Wilder upside the head out there, and nobody said nothing. Nobody threw flags. Yeah, we lost the game, but the referees play a part in it.
Yes.
Let me say something in closing. Where you keep thinking and always think and know what's real and what's fake. I was about to take me a trip to Florida. And just before I got on the plane, I seen a guy just like a pilot. I said, hey, man, how long you been a pilot? He said, well, I'm not a pilot. I'm just dressed like one. Do you think I got on that plane? No, I didn't. Common sense, y'all. Alabama won this game 3 times over, but the referees decided. And that's all I got to say. And I hope by 9 o'clock my pressure go down because it's through the roof right now. And I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Hey, always great to hear from
Great,
you,
David.
Uncle Charles. Roll
Great
Tide,
call.
my friend.
Yes, sir.
Roll Tide right there. I think that's one of my favorite callers, Jay, when Uncle Charles calls in. All right, let's go back to the super chats. You know it, Jay. If they give us $5, I'm going to read it. Jonathan says, who was the last team to get 3 TDs on Bama in the first quarter? Just curious. That's a good question.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but I'm not sure when it happened.
I think it probably was Ole Miss, but that's just off the top of my head. That was the first one.
That was my first one.
They had some pretty good offenses against Alabama. Maybe Chris can figure that out for us because I'm not sure. Let's go back to the phone lines again. and keep this thing rolling. We'll do a few more calls before we wrap it up tonight. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Richard in Knoxville.
What's up?
Hey, Richard.
Hey, your callers are embarrassing themselves. Stop with bitching about the officiating.
Richard, look, man, you guys won, but the officiating sucked, just like you. Beat it. Next. I'm sorry, Jay.
No,
I knew that was coming. I've just had enough. They lead the league in beep talking. You know what? They've won once in 16 years, and they just can't shut up. Who's this and where are you coming from?
Totally agree. It's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, thank you, man. Bring me some sanity. I'm not going to sit here and listen to that tonight.
Man, you're absolutely right. I don't think it's just this game, Alabama's been picked on penalty-wise. I think it's been the season.
It's the entire season.
There's been some real unjust and not clear calls against Alabama this season. There's no way we all of a sudden just jump in and we're the most penalized team in the SEC out of the blue by far. It's not even close right now, the number of penalties that this team gets. And you're right about that pass interference call at the end. I mean, it's 4th and 5. You have to see something blatant and egregious to bail out Tennessee in that situation. And it was just you can't call ticky tack, and that's what it is out there. Where that it was 4th down, and not only did we intercept the ball, but he runs it back that far, like one of you callers said. At what point do you throw the flag? How far down is he going to go before you decide it's a pass interference? Now the defense was horrible, yeah. And this, we criticize Bill O'Brien, but as people have said, 49 points. Come on, we should 49 points should win the game. But like Uncle Charles said, hey, okay, defense didn't play great, but when combined with Bryce Young and Bill and Jahmyr Gibbs' brilliance, they did play good enough to win if the referees aren't so flag happy towards Alabama. And it was another game that we had like 13 penalties for almost 130 yards. That's something's going to have to be addressed about this.
It's got to be.
With all these penalties towards Alabama.
Hey, let me ask you something, Robert. You're a guy that we've been hanging out for a long time on here. Who's worse, Gary Danielson's color commentary or the officials? Because both of them made me nauseous today.
Absolutely the officials. Gary Danielson, and you guys point out one thing to give him to his credit. He also, he circled the 2 timeouts that Alabama had in the situation where we were, saying, hey, 2 timeout, you can run this ball. Mm-hmm. I was agreeing with him. Yeah,
he's
run
right.
The ball.
He's right.
But we didn't run the ball. We've all had up on with Bill O'Brien, from day one. And, I mean, towards the last couple of minutes of the game, that could have been better had he been more conservative and called better plays. And then that would at least since he doesn't have time. And will someone please get Will Riker onto the left hash mark when you in that situation?
Right.
Call the play and puts him in the middle of the field or to the left. He's like, see, he's struggling on the right. Make sure he's on the left. It's just mind-boggling on plays like that. But Bryce Young, of course, was brilliant, and it looks like he is 100%. I hope, I'm like you, I hope Tennessee wins out. I want a rematch.
I want this again.
And on a rematch on a neutral site. Yeah.
Let's run it
neutral
back.
Site, who's going to bet on Tennessee?
Hey, look, everybody will. But let's run it back. Let's see what happens if they play on a neutral site with the different officiating crew.
Exactly.
If Alabama doesn't get 16 penalties all at very opportune times, there was a couple times where Bryce just worked through the officials' calls. Where they just kept calling these weird penalties, and you're like, man, are you serious? And a guy called up and he said, this game reminded me of when the Lakers played against Sacramento, and it was like game 6 of a playoff game and a series. And I remember thinking the same thing tonight, because I knew every time Alabama made any kind of big play that there was going to be a penalty. And when there wasn't, you were like, oh, man, they didn't call a penalty right here.
And it wasn't even-handed either.
No.
I mean, that's the thing. Fine. You going to call the same thing when Alabama do it? But then it wasn't even-handed. So, yeah, the official, I mean, we shouldn't have known the officials were on the field much in this game.
Right.
And they were the difference in the game by far. But, yeah, different officiating crew on a neutral site, I'll bet my house that Alabama wins that game. So, and like you said, we do have to make improvements, but the season is still in front of us. We still have, the SEC championship game, which hopefully please beat Tennessee, and we still we have some impressive games to win out. Bryce had a Heisman performance, I thought, and if it's Tennessee again, that game and against Alabama, that game's going to decide who the Heisman Trophy winner is. And of course, it'll be Bryce. It's going to decide who the Heisman Trophy winner. But yeah, it's disappointing, but the season's not over, and I mean, these penalties against Alabama, that's going to have to be looked at. Nick Saban may have to start saying something. He don't like to do it, but he needs to.
I agree. It's not just this game. It was Texas. It was, this team is not getting 15 penalties a game, and Tennessee's getting 5 or 4. I mean, come on, man. You could call a penalty on every single play if you wanted to. Really? I mean, you can look at every play and find a penalty.
Will never held?
Right. Now, yeah, Will Anderson's never held. Ever.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Pete Golden, come on, man. You do have to, like you guys pointed out earlier, you do have to make adjustments on the defense. I mean, the guy was wide open because he was just running past his safety. It running past you. At some point, you do have to make adjustments on that. He looked like the old Pete Golden defense, and that wasn't good either. So we did, but the offense played well enough to win. We lost the game on the defense and the officiating. But, hey, we're still in it. All right, guys. Great talking with you.
Hey, great, man. Roll Tide. Let's do one more call tonight.
Yeah, and real quick before we go there, UT Martin, they've got next. I wonder if they'll have a letdown. Kentucky, they go to or Kentucky comes there, number 22 in the country right now, which at times they've looked really good this year. Georgia, they're at Georgia on the 5th of November, and then it's Missouri at home, and then at South Carolina on the 19th of November, and then Vanderbilt. So they don't have much besides Georgia. That's going to be the big matchup for them, whether or not they win the East and get the rematch back in Atlanta. But Alabama's got a lot to do still with Mississippi State coming up. They got to get past this game, 24-hour rule. Whether you win or lose, you got to get past it and move on. And that's part of the process. And that's why Alabama's been so good to bounce back from situations like this.
All right, last call of the night. Let's put you on and talk about it. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas? My name's Shane Wells. I'm from Center, Alabama.
How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Finally over that loss. Took me a while to get over it, but man, I don't understand all the penalties and the undisciplined team that we got going on this year, man. We got to clean things up.
I'm with you, man. I mean, it's going to be tough to win a championship if you're getting 17 penalties in a game like this.
It is, and not only did this happen tonight, go back to the Texas game. We tied our record that game. That's 2 times in one season. I don't know if it's the kids ain't buying in. Obviously, Coach Saban's the GOAT, so he's preaching it to them. It's just somebody needs to have a come to Jesus meeting in that locker room and say, do y'all want to be good or do y'all want to be great?
Good point.
Yeah, great point. Anything else out in Centerville tonight?
Just roll Tide. Bryce, way to do your thing, man. Come in there after an injury. We played good and could have won the football game considering playing against the refs and the sloppiness, but just keep pushing forward, guys. We control our own destiny and let's go win us another one.
All right, roll Tide, man. Hey, look, sometimes these games, Jay, they're wake-up calls, Sometimes it's good to when you lose these kind of games, It's
good. It's good in future preparation, but it's hard to accept when you're going through it. It's never good to lose. You hate to lose, but
you don't want to lose. But sometimes you can get positive out of it, right?
That's right. You learn from it. Just like any negative in your life, you learn from it. You grow from it. You make the corrections that need to be made, corrected, and that's what Coach Saban is the best at doing, and that's what he's done, not just at Alabama, but everywhere he's been. And they'll go back and reevaluate, self-scout, look at this game, and figure things out that they could have done better. And hopefully there will be a rematch against this Tennessee team. They just got to take care of business against Georgia for that to happen. Georgia will probably take a different approach than we did against them. They'll try to run the ball down their throats. And look, they've got probably one really outstanding defensive lineman. The linebackers are actually really good. Secondary has been banged up with some injuries, but they're not, they're not just an unbelievable group back there. I think that's why we had a lot of chances and open receivers at times. But that's where Georgia will say, we're just going to run down your throat. We're going to play big man football, and that's the difference. And we'll see whether or not Tennessee can line up and play like they did tonight and have the same success, because Georgia, like us, I mean, they've got a lot of great athletes on the defense side of the ball that can stay with guys that can, the problem is with a guy like Hyatt, I mean, that guy for the last, 2 or 3 seasons, been taking the top off of all the coverages, not just Alabama's.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of success. So there's, again, a lot of positives to draw from this, but also a lot to learn.
Yeah, look, Tennessee's got the number 1 offense in the country, and I'm curious to see what it's going to look like against Georgia. Like you said, like I could see them just kind of going straight ahead, controlling the clock. But at the same time, I mean, when your quarterback throws the ball with that type of accuracy to those receivers, and it's like a 3-second count, I mean, it's hard to get back there.
Yeah, it's a great scheme, and Josh has done a great job and had a great game plan coming into it. And, I thought as we, began to score, we had those 5 straight scoring drives, and we tie it up, then we go ahead at that point in time. And then we got the fumble recovery for the touchdown. We go up by 7. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to pull away from them. And they never gave up. Hendon never gave up after the interception. Went over there and learned from it, came back out and made some excellent plays. Again, clock management at the end, I think, could have solved a lot of those issues. You either kick it or we go to overtime. The other thing is just, defense has got to get more pressure on the quarterbacks.
I agree, man. Well, I think this just about does it. Any final thoughts tonight? I mean, we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes again. Another late night with Jay and Mick here on the BamaInsider YouTube channel.
Yeah, I hate it for the Bama fans. I hate it more importantly for the players, the coaches. They put the work into it every week. I mean, the sweat, the grind, the blood, the tears, everything that's going on in that locker room after the game. Bryce took a lot of big hits. How he recovers from that coming into the Mississippi State game, he'll do fine, I'm sure, because that's the type of player he is, type of person he is. But off of this, too, again, you got to give Tennessee credit. I mean, they came out, had a great game plan, and played well, and they ended the streak. So give them credit where credit's due. The refs, I think they need to go back to school for a little bit and try to figure out maybe we need to super glue those flags in their pockets against Alabama. But Alabama has been called for a lot. A lot of those have been on their own mistakes and their own doing, but a lot of those were questionable as well. But we'll just build off of this. I mean, that's all you can do as a team is just get better, work the process, and know that everything that you want to accomplish is right in front of you still. You can still play for the SEC title, still win the West, play the SEC title, get in the playoffs, and have a chance to play for the championship. So everything's right in front of them. Now it's just how they react, how the psychology of this team, the leaders that step up in the locker room, in the huddle, and figure this thing out.
I want to say this. I've been saying for 15 years this is the best rivalry that Alabama has. And it was hard to convince some people out there that this was the best rivalry. But you just listen. The Tennessee fans talk the biggest amount of any fan base. You'll find that out now because they've won in 16 years, and they're going to be in your face. They're going to be talking smack. And you know what? They got a great football team, and they won the game today. They won the game, and they outplayed Alabama, and they won the game 52-49, and it was an exciting game. Congratulations to them. But Alabama fans, the ones that didn't think that this was a rivalry, guess what? You're about to get educated on the fact that when you're driving back from the game and there's a sheet that's slaying over the overpass and it's talking crap, or the fans will come up to you, they're going to be talking crap. You don't even know. When I went to school, we lost to these guys every year, and they were the loudest talkers of any group. Even like having lost 15 straight years before the game, they were talking smack. But that's what I like that, man. I like that engagement. That's why I enjoy this rivalry. I like the colors. I like the history. I didn't want to lose this game, but congratulations to Tennessee. What an exciting win. What an exciting win for them. And it's a change. I think this is a game changer for their program. They've been in the they've been losing to like Vanderbilt and Kentucky and, and barely getting a win or two in the SEC. This year they're legitimate, and this win puts them in the top. They got to be, honestly, they got to be in the top 3 to me, maybe even higher, depending on how the voters are. And for Alabama, it's time to kind of circle the wagons a little bit. You can't sit around and cry about it because you got Mississippi State next week, and that's a huge game. If you lose to Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl is going to determine who wins. You know what I'm saying? The Egg Bowl is going to determine who wins the West. So you just got to get back on track again. And I think Alabama will do that. Nick Saban's always done an excellent job of taking a loss like this and building from it, and even though the Alabama didn't have more points at the end of the game, man, this was an awesome game to watch. I mean, this was like watching a PlayStation battle, back and forth and all the great plays. Mm-hmm. So it hurts to lose. The one thing that bothers me the most is the officiating. I don't care what the Tennessee fans say on the message board. I really don't care. I saw what I saw. And my job is to come on here and give you my opinions. And my opinion is that the officials sucked, period. That's how I felt. And if somebody doesn't like that, then you go get your own show and you can talk about it. But this is how I feel. I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've never come on and said that the officials suck, ever. I'm not that person. But tonight, they were terrible. They were a difference in this game. And I think the SEC should be ashamed on some of that. You can't have it going one way like this and one way like this. This isn't – Alabama's not Mercer, and where they're overmatched and guys got a hold on every play. You could call a penalty on every single play. And that's the thing about it that disappoints me. But you know what? At the end of the day, no matter how bad I felt like the officiating was, Alabama still had a chance to win the game with a kick at the end of the game, and they missed. Tennessee had a chance to win the game at the end of the game at the end with a kick, and they got it. And that's the difference. And they won the football game. So congratulations. And I pray this is the matchup in the SEC championship game, because I would love to see 4 more quarters of Alabama and Tennessee, if this is kind of what we're going to see there, because it was a really fun game, in that capacity. Alabama plays next week. We're going to have shows on the BamaInsider YouTube channel all week long, talking about Mississippi State. Monday Night Quarterback comes on at 7 o'clock on Monday. We'll recap this one. We'll have Clint Lamb on. We'll have Joseph Hastings. We'll talk to Jimmy Stein. We'll just kind of just fold this back together. Jay and I will be back with you on Tuesday and Thursday with our Crimson Tide headline show. The tailgate show will be at Innisfree Friday night. And then Jay and I will be back. Anytime that Nick Saban talks, we'll have those press conferences. I'm curious. I mean, we have tonight's press conference on there. You guys can go watch it. Nick Saban will talk again on Monday. Jay, Nick's always been excellent after a loss.
Always been. Yeah. I mean, again, it's the process. Going back and correcting the things you can correct. And, a lot of those things like the penalties are easy to do. And again, I think he loves these moments, these teaching moments. Is that your dog in the background?
That's John. Yeah, he's outside.
John.
He's out there.
Thought you went and stole Smokey.
No. I like Smokey. He's just
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. He just
Smokey 10. I think it is
Smokey 10. Yeah, he's one of my favorite dogs too. Good looking dog, Smokey.
Hey, good show. Thanks for all the calls.
Yeah, guys, thanks for all the calls. Great night. Like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Don't forget that our show is brought to you by Westgate Luxury Condominiums. Find out more information at westgateal.com. If you're coming in Tuscaloosa, you want, maybe you just want to rent for a weekend, for a couple of days, westgateal.com. Or if you want some rental property, maybe you want to move to town, check it out. It's really fantastic. 1 to 5 bedroom units that go from 900 to 3,000 square feet. The parking's awesome. It's right next to Bryant-Denny Stadium. You're near the Walk of Champions, near Denny Chimes, near the Strip. All that stuff's right there. So check it out for yourself next time you come to town. Jay, thanks for hanging out tonight, brother.
Most definitely. Roll Tide. We'll get past it and get ready for Mississippi State.
Hey, all the Vol fans out there, go Vols. Congratulations. Roll Tide, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, enjoy the night.